mana. Um, Again, Sky notices that Todd's base isn't as well built, I think, as his expansion. He doesn't have a tower up there yet, and I think Sky assumes that. So Todd automatically I'm sorry, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Todd automatically assumes that he's gonna go up there. So right off the bat, you want to send all your militia, or at least all your wood peasants militia, to become militia, and then you want to move back to your base. That's another good thing about Todd's base. These two farms outside his base are really good for scouting. And as you notice, Todd did pick up one of those mud golems. It's probably one of the best units in early game. Obviously, it's one of the best units in early game. You can surround heroes with it. You can chase down units with it. And obviously, you chase with it. That's what you do. You don't want to run away from this right here. This guy did a mistake right here. He should have just moved all his units back the other way to his expansion instead of trying to fight this off, because those water elementals with one shadow priest with no mana, those water elementals can just kill all the footmen. So that's 2 footmen he killed, ogre mauler he killed, shadow priest he killed. Todd's picking off all these units. He's gonna slow that footman still, I think. Yeah, he does. He does get that footman. So what we're seeing out of Todd right now, which is a little bit not too unusual, but he's not going for the pure like air and just mass griffins and mass gyros. Like, he does get those units, but I mean, he does get the casters, which is another reason why you go Archmage instead of Mountain King. If you're going Human Mirror, if you go Archmage first, you really want to get an Arcane Sanctum, at least one for sorceresses and priests, not spellbreakers, unless you don't get spellbreakers unless you get tier 2 shit, like just pure tier 2 breakers and priests. But the reason why you get sorcerers and priests is because in Human Mirror, if the other player that you're versing goes Mountain King and Paladin, he's not gonna get an Arcane Sanctum, which means he's not gonna be able to dispel slow. He's not gonna be able to take away Inner Fire. I mean, yeah, in Human vs Undead, maybe that's what Todd and some other pro humans player do. They go some spellbreakers just to mass focus heroes, but in this case, Human Mirror, when there's an expansion and it's going to be a late game, the role of going Mountain King first is just getting it for the pure brute force of the Mountain King Paladin Mass Griffin combo, to where you can just kill anything in 1 second. If you have a level 6 Mountain King and you have level 3 bolt, and you bolt something and you have all those griffins, and most of the time it does work. But I mean, again, if you're versing a good player in the beginning, if there's not that much delayable stuff going on, and if you haven't delayed him as much, I mean, the other human player can do the same thing and just abuse his air just as well as you can abuse your bolt and mass focus on one hero. Another cool trick Sky does right here, he gets the invulnerability potion on his Mountain King on the shop, and he's gonna creep drag Todd right here. And again, Sky, these best out of 3 series, I don't think Todd has won a lot of games for Sky, but Sky does put up an amazing game, and I don't understand how his timing works. He's like a human clock. His timing on creeps, his timing on when items are up, as well as Todd's, and his timing on when a person is going to be creeping something is just amazing. And he does get that Hellstone creep as well, Hellstone item as well from that creep. And this is really smart by him too. If he didn't kill that mud golem, he probably wouldn't have gotten that. Probably wouldn't have bought the Zeppelin, because if that mud golem was still alive, Todd would have just slowed the Zeppelin. He would have chased it with his hero and probably blocked it off somehow. But yeah. So as you see, they're both tier 3 right now, and they are going for the air mix. Todd hasn't putting he's starting to put his Griffonaries. It's not up yet, but obviously Sky is, he has 3 Griffonaries with 1 workshop, and he's putting his second one right now. Like I said, I mean, you don't normally get casters when you go Mountain King first in Human Mirror, because obviously you don't have Brilliance Aura. When you use one slow, I mean, it takes forever to use another slow, since you don't have Brilliance Aura, and if you get casters when you go Mountain King, you just won't have enough damage output to kill anything. So it sort of works the same way human versus orc. I mean, the human goes Mountain King Griffins just because it just level 3 bolt with like 8 Griffins just does so much damage to orc. They sometimes it doesn't even matter what they have because it's just so much damage, and that works both ways in human mirror too. So yeah, so you see Todd doing a really good job. He's always, once as an Archmage, your Archmage is going to be pretty high level once you get your Mountain King and Paladin out when you're tier 3. You pretty much always want to back up your Archmage, even if he's not level 5, you still want to back him up just to get your Mountain King and Paladin at a higher level, so they can match up against your opponent's Mountain King and Paladin, because your opponent's Mountain King is going to be level 6, when your Mountain King is going to be like level 2. So you always want to power creep your Mountain King and Paladin when you're putting up another expansion, or when you're creeping that Goblin Lab like Todd did. He backed up his Archmage as well. So again, this guy's timing right here, he just knows where Todd's going to be at. Unfortunately, he does run into the army, and he picks off a priest. You saw a priest weak. A full HP priest, you actually have to bolt it and smack it once. You'll see it in a second. But that one was a little bit low from the creep, and he got to pick off a priest. Pick off a priest, man. You can't pick off a priest. Priests are too good. Because my name is Priest. Alright, so on the top left of the map, this guy's going to be doing the same thing that Todd's doing, sort of to counteract his expansion. Obviously, I think Todd understands this, and he's going to go up there in a little bit to scout it out and see what he's doing, I think. Okay, in the beginning of audio, I was talking about, like unit mixes and, what's the point of getting tanks and the point of getting air, how many air units you want to get, as to say how many gyros you want to get. This guy only gets these 3 tanks for one purpose. He gets them to kill an expansion. It doesn't matter if he doesn't kill the expansion, he just does it so it slows Todd down. It would have been nice if Sky got these 3 tanks over to expansion very, very quickly, and like he's doing, but I mean, he does get that one to run through Todd's army, and Todd notices that he is gonna have tanks going to his expansion. So I mean, he is prepared for it. Unfortunately, this guy ran his tanks into his army, but I mean, I've seen replays and I've played versus other human players that go straight tanks, and it works sometimes if you get caught off guard, if you're not getting tanks and you're not prepared for it. But see, the bad thing about it is, if you go in mass tanks and the other person doesn't go in mass tanks, he's gonna have a lot bigger army than you, because you're spending 215 gold or whatever, how much they cost. 215 gold just to get tanks to kill expansions and bases, and eventually you can't really base race a human player with just 4 tanks, because he's gonna kill him. I mean, it's not 9 off. He is gonna kill him a lot faster with sorceresses and towers at the human base. It still does work, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've lost to it, I've won with it, but when you win with it, it's because they spend a lot more money on base defense than they should with an army. That's not how you beat it. When you're versing it, you should just get massive amounts of units, like get more griffins, or get more knights, get more items on your heroes, because if you spend all that gold on his siege tanks, he's not going to have an army the size of yours. He's not going to have the items that you have. Now again, if he does, let's say you're versing someone on a bigger map, and he does what just Sky did right there, he just bought 3 tanks just to maybe try and pick off a building or an expansion, you don't want to change your strategy that much right off the bat, because just getting 3 tanks, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that much money wasted, but it is still money wasted. So as you see Todd's unit mix, he's going for gyros and casters, like 2 knights, I think, and some griffins. And as you see Sky's unit mix, he's just going for mass griffins and mass gyros. The difference is, if you have Archmage, it's better to get casters versus mass air, because obviously you'll have water elementals. He won't have breakers, because you don't, like I said, you don't get arcane sanctums versus Mountain King. And you're asking why? I told you why, because when you go Mountain King in human mirror, you can't afford to use gold on casters because then you won't have enough griffins to